Oh, in less than a week, Mary, 4 people have been shot at or near the bus stop that's right back there. One man died. Investigators say rival gangs are behind this, and the neighbors, well, they just want to be safe. 2 people gunned down the day before Thanksgiving. Then a man was shot dead on Friday. And still, the violence didn't stop.
And then I also worked here on Saturday, and this was when they had the shooting right here in the parking lot.
Investigators say all 3 incidents are connected, and that's got the mayor of Kent rethinking the game plan.
Well, honestly, we think we've got some sort of a turf war, drugs involved and gangs involved.
Mayor Dana Ralph says Kent can't fix this alone and is calling on the county executive to direct the jail, the prosecutor's office, and the courts to address the revolving door that lets criminals walk free.
Honestly, the lack of accountability at this point for people committing crimes is what's feeding a lot of these problems.
The problems at the intersection of Pacific Highway South and Kent Des Moines Road have been ongoing, but the mayor says a street rivalry between 2 groups is putting the public in the crosshairs, and neighbors want some relief.
I've come into work and I've seen people doing some drug deals.
In the short term, some people in the area are asking for more police patrols.
That would be probably your first stop, have a better police presence.
The mayor says those emphasis patrols are in the works and will likely involve partnerships with surrounding cities because so many local police departments face the same staffing shortages. Once arrests are made, the mayor says she needs prosecutors and the courts to do their part to help end the violence.
If we can bring all of the pieces of the criminal justice system together and have it work as it should, that will make a significant difference in keeping our community safe.
So the family of Charleena Lyles says that $3.5 million settlement brings them some comfort, but it doesn't bring her back, and they say they will continue to fight for justice.
And we're not done yet. The struggle continues.
The family of Charleena Lyles still utterly heartbroken that she's gone. We heard from her son, Q.
I just want to say no amount of money to bring my mom back, and I still want to see the cop that did this prosecuted.
Cousin Katrina Johnson vows to continue fighting.
Because we're not done until the 2 officers who murdered my cousin are held criminally liable.
Police shot and killed Charleena Lyles in her Sandpoint apartment in 2017. According to police, Lyles lured them to her apartment by falsely reporting a break-in. Police claim Lyles then charged at them with a knife. The lawsuit filed by Lyles' family had accused officers Jason Anderson and Stephen McNew of wrongful death and civil rights violations in this shooting. The police shooting sparked widespread outrage and protests against excessive use of force by SPD. Protesters also called for police reforms during Black Lives Matter protests. Lyles' attorneys say the settlement is a long time coming.
And it's been a brutal case. And the law is not friendly to people that are having mental health crises.
But attorneys say the $3.5 million settlement brings forth some justice.
But most of all, the settlement recognizes the value of Charleena Lyles' life.
It means accountability. It means you can't do this without consequence. You can't negligently take lives in our community without a comeuppance.
As for what's next, these attorneys say there is still an inquest into the fatal police shooting. They say the $3.5 million settlement does not impact that. Meanwhile, Seattle police released a statement about the settlement today. They say, quote, "We too stand by the multiple layers of review this case has undergone and hope that this resolution brings closure to all of our community affected." In Seattle, Suzanne Fawn, KOMO News.
Eric, Mary, good evening. This is a big day not only for the Low Income Housing Institute and this new village, but for those volunteers that conducted that tireless outreach to those living at that encampment, making all of this happen. 5 people once living there are now living here, and with 15 more on the way by the end of the week, we're told this is the end of that encampment. More on that in just a minute. This is how things look behind Broadview Thompson earlier today. Of course, this is a situation that KOMO News has reported on extensively, along with that effort to find housing for those who lived at the encampment as neighbors and parents grew exhausted and frustrated. For more than a year, they had to deal with crime, drug use, rats, and other safety concerns, along with its proximity to that K-8 school. That's where the new tiny house village known as Friendship Heights, where we are at 125th and Aurora, comes into play. Volunteers with Anything Helps work to move them here. It's transitional housing, but as the leader for that group says, it's a step in the right direction. With 41 units, 20 people from that encampment will soon call it home. It's complete with showers and a kitchen setup. One man moving in today tells me he's excited at this opportunity, and to be sleeping somewhere he's welcome for a change. This was a complex challenge making all of this happen with many departments involved, but in the end, those volunteers pulled it off.
We just kind of saw the opportunity to assist people in Bitter Lake when the city had turned its back, and we just really wanted to help people. You don't need all the bureaucracy to be able to make a difference.
Yeah, Eric, neighbors aren't used to this. It's totally clear out here after volunteers removed all the lawnmowers and wooden structures blocking the sidewalk.
Boom. Congratulations, Charles. I'm really proud of you and the way you handle a piece of wood.
Charles Woodward is letting go of his past. And volunteers with We Heart Seattle are now trying to help him rebuild his future.
Piece by piece, he just kept saying, yep, you can take this.
For the past 2 weekends, Andrea Suarez and her crew removed thousands of pounds of wood and scrap metal from his encampment, including all the lawnmowers that once occupied the corner of 8th Avenue Northwest and 49th Street. This is why neighbors called him Lawnmower Man.
You cannot come out here and harass people.
We first spotlighted the story last month after neighbors called us for help, complaining about Woodward being a menace to the community, playing loud music at night and also threatening anyone who approached him.
He said to me, Andrea, I'm tired of being angry. And I think he's just worn out.
Suarez says after watching our story, she wanted to take a different approach.
As we treated him like a human being with dignity and respect.
But along with this personal touch, she says the threats by vigilantes also helped him realize it was time to move on. Recently, someone came by and shattered his van's window. The city also tried to offer him housing and services, but that didn't work.
And I think he was there for at least a year.
So neighbors here say they're just amazed at what this nonprofit accomplished in such a short amount of time.
Gave him something the city wasn't giving him. And that's why they had an impact and the city didn't.
We Heart's success is also getting the attention of Councilmember Dan Strauss, who represents Ballard. Just a few weeks ago, Suarez says Strauss told her group to stand down with their encampment cleanups and outreach program, saying it was a distraction. But today, he sent us a statement that reads in part, I'm glad when volunteers are able to interact positively with unsheltered residents, redeploying efforts where they're needed and leaving sites of critical focus to governmental and community leaders.
And he was like, just take it all.
Suarez says for now, it's at least a start.
I think he just felt cared for in a different way.
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.